Hi, everybody, and welcome to The Matrix. The Matrix, Map 369. 30 million years old ruins scatter across the entire universe, yours to enjoy. Welcome to The Matrix, Mr. Anderson. Map in a single unit is a vacuum train station, one direction. So, for four direction, of course, we need four of them. So, here they are. The X, the famous X. Everybody's asking, what is the X? Why is everybody? X is simply the crossroads. And believe me, you'll see what I mean by crossroads. And these were not only vacuum train stations, these were energy producer, huge generator. The batteries of those constructions were housed in stronghold or bastion. The one on the left is the one on the surface, of course, because on one direction, the first one, like on a subway station, you got four direction, you go down for four level. Now this is how these construction were built, one on top of the other. Now you may look at Grand Canyon and understand a little bit more about the edges of that canyon, so-called canyon. Or maybe you'd understand more the step cultures and the stairs, the staircase across the mountains around the world. Across the world, I'm sorry. Here I'm going to show you a couple of more noticeable, more known citadel than the rest. Um, you may have heard of the Baltic Sea anomaly, the UFO. Nah, an old subway station submerged. That is either covered in polymer or turned to stone with time or simply covered up. Now, as I just told you, they work in pairs of six, one on top of the other, one bigger than the other, and they also follow the diagonal rules and a lot of specific rules, which I'm gonna introduce you to in the course of this presentation. Subtle correlation, but then again, visible ones, and once again, repeating themselves with trace evidence left there on the ground, visible. These are ruins. That's all there is to it. And ruins of all the same thing. The Matrix. Sorry, Roger, but this ain't no fisheye being eaten by a dragon. No, I'm sorry. This is a more down to earth explanation. This is the Matrix. Well, what do you know? The plug there, the energy plug at the back of the Matrix, it even left a dune of sand. The axle, the observatory, everything is there. Some of you may think that you're looking at Atlantis. You're not looking at Atlantis. Atlantis, I'll show it to you a little later on. But that's not it. Even though it really does look like it. But then again, I bet on the Matrix. Stonehenge. What do you think about Stonehenge? The druids rock stone. Nah, once again, no. Don't believe it. It's an old vacuum train station. Don't you think that this one looks pretty much like the Enterprise? Never heard that Jane Roddenberry had an appointment prior to writing Star Trek with the underground persons? Maybe you should take a look at that. You will wake up to see that this matrix, the repetition in it, the way I'm telling you it works by level, one on top of the other. You just see that the proofs, the evidence are right there on the ground. That matrix, it follows a strict rule, strict guided rule, which makes it undeniable. That matrix, that vacuum train station. It goes in all direction, and it's of all size. These citadel, they also feature other rules, which we'll see later in this clip. Those mats, or citadel slash subway station. Those citadels also feature other rules, which we'll see later on in this clip. Those mats, citadel slash subway station, call them as fit, uh, of similar size. Those of similar size scatter across this plane. They're all over the place. Now, to know that you've been lied to is quite a feat in itself, but to understand to what level you are being lied to is quite another feat. Believe me, you're being lied to on a big, big scale, a very big scale. We once were Tartar, we once were great. Tartari, 1808, the first big map I noticed. Stadel fit for giants. To all the Tartar in you, you must have noticed that you don't need the map to see Tartary, for you see it right there on the topography of the land itself. It's you see it, it's sculpted in the ground. As for the new Tartarian map, 1808. If that map was made in 1808, man, there's more topography detail on it than on Google Earth itself of today. I know what makes it kind of uncomfortable. It's got to be the size of the thing. But the thing is, maybe it's the consequence that comes with it, with the acceptance of that being just truth. You see, 30 million years ago, our people, or some people, built this entire universe. What I'm showing you there is only a small part of it. It's the beginning. They've destroyed the one that were damaged. They hide the ones they're using. But there are things that are too big to hide, like just this. As one goes further into history or landscape frontier, one's only can find design that matches the matrix. And then once you find one, usually you find two, you find three, you find four, because that's what the world is all made of. Wars are not what you think, and territory either ain't what you think. You're gonna notice that everything in this plane repeats itself. Everything. All only to converge toward one under identical design, as ancestral as the universe itself. Math, the universal matrix, which inevitably leaves traces, for this is an incredible design. It's the fingerprints of the gods. And the way I look at those fingerprints, gods must have had a couple of fingers, because he left multiple fingerprints all over. This is Göbekli Tepe, and then you got the Golan Circle. What do you know? There are stels. You know those T-shapes thing there in Göbekli Tepe? There, right there on the ground. On the ground, not only there are stels, but there are corresponding remnants with Göbekli Tepe. Pretty convincing one too, don't you? Wouldn't you say? Well, I'll leave it up to you. You're gonna have to understand that uh, that the symmetry of that machine makes it a perfect machine. A concept always following strict rules that leaves corresponding unexplainable but exactly corresponding part underground. Unexplainable parts underground. Unless always following the 1/6 rule. Wherever you see it, it follows that rule. 1/6 less in size, on top of another one, leaving marks on the ground for each size that follow, like a door. Like it needs to have each level needs its door. That's why you see parts emerging all over the universe. This is simply how the old world was made. Well, how the world was made, in fact. Because when I say old world, I mean the first world. This image, this simple image, is the equation 369 of the old mathematician of the old world, reduced to its simple form, an image. They will call it ridiculous, of course, but with an eyes closed, one can see what is there is there, and that is there. It's not only there, it's everywhere. I'm not asking you to believe. That'd be ridiculous. I'm asking you just to look, because that, whether you like it or not, is your reality. Everything is nothing but a repetition of that single unit, math. Either a repetition or a reflection of that matrix. Citadel, Tartaria, Australia, you name it, they're all maths, all of them. Even if it's hard to believe, it is what it is. Now maybe you understand that this place, it has nothing natural. It has got nothing to do with natural. What do you call natural? What's natural is magic. And I don't believe in magic. Now, do you? Iwo Jima, Japan, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, Pearl Harbor, you name it, war scene. All war scenes are fake. Why? Because they are maths. All of them. They're not conquering for land, they're conquering for citadel. Now, here's Hiroshima. What you see there is corresponding exactly. And furthermore, where the bombs were supposedly dropped just coincide with the middle part where the bastion or houses the batteries of mats. They don't have nuclear power. That's not true. Reactor 4, Chernobyl, 3 Miles Island, you name it. All electricity facilities are matrix. Just go and check them out. Which is also valid for the Maginot Defense Line and the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Just to check them out. They're all matrix. And now the Africa continent. I'm going to explain to you visually the best way to explain things. The 1/6 rule. 1/6 bigger, 1/6 turn. There you go. Remains of a world that disappeared long ago, buried under the ashes slash mud and ice. Now a world led by great puppeteers. We used to live in citadels that with size that fitted us. Now, what size do you think the inhabitant of this one or the one of these size would look like? It was said that God sent back the giant to the underground, where they belonged. And when you think it can't get any crazier, well, then it does. This is where you live, in the middle. This is your plane. This is how it works. This is what they hide from you. Every world is connected by underground vacuum train. So this plane is interconnected by a transport system that connects every other planet around. What you see when you look at the sky is some reflection in the dome. I can't exactly get to describe. I don't even understand it yet. But what I understand is what lies besides us. And what lies besides us are other domes, just like ours, just around us, all connected by underground vacuum train, which they use, which you don't. Now, this is your jail. Walled between wall, between wall, behind wall. This was Atlantis. This was La Grande Tartarie. This world was once paradise made out of citadels, transformed today in a jail born from our ignorance. This is a barless jail. This is a mental prison. transport? Ooh, and the crab constellation. Now, what would there be? Why would there be any correlation between those two things? Well, I'll tell you why. Because everything is just a repetition of itself. And that self being the matrix, of course. Have you ever noticed that huge citadel on the Tartarian map? That huge circle there? No, never noticed that. Me neither. It's funny. You need somebody to show it to you to see it. But when someone does, it looks quite obvious that it's there. But then again, might be only me. Things are not what you think. Things are not what they shown us in school. What they teached us in school was not true. Everything's a lie. This is not. This has got nothing to do with a star constellation as we understand it. This is pure energy emerging from the matrix itself. And that part is the observatory. Bus road. You've never noticed it, eh? Yeah, there's a big X in the crab constellation, as well as there is one on each planet and the ley lines. Now, you think they're imaginary, invisible lines? No, they're a they're a transport system. They're all map. They're all connection to map. That's that's what the world and the entire universe is all about, or was. Now this, you know what this is? This, from my understanding, is a cloud making machine. Bah, forget it. That's for another time. Matt369.com. Now, this is my way of living. Please buy a book. It's better than any history book you'll get on the market for it. This is your history, not his story. Have a nice day, everybody.